Okay guys, welcome back to Our World Outdoors. I'm Tony, and today we're going to talk about our winter loadout. Um, Weight hasn't been fully figured out yet. I'm going to walk you through what some of the bigger items cost and their weights, and we'll kind of go from there. I do have one of my two trekking poles in my hand right now to use as a pointer. The reason I don't always use trekking poles, as you guys have seen in my videos, but with the tent I'm taking, you have to use the trekking poles, and that's kind of a way I'm making this budget tent ultralight, or as close to ultralight as you can get for a budget tent. So let's start over here to the right. Now, if I'm just going on a one-day trip, like an overnight, then I probably wouldn't bring extra clothes per se, but I would bring extra socks. But as I said, this is like a deep winter loadout. So what I've got here is I've got an extra pair of Darn Tough socks. And then I've got a pair of camp socks, like the heavy, woolly, insulated. Then next I have a pair of starter dry fit. These are kind of like long johns, but fully synthetic. They do keep you warm. I'm also known to bring out the cuddle duds. My wife has two pairs. I steal them sometimes. And then most of you know that when I hike, I like to be in either hiking pants of some kind or like these are dry power Russell swishy kind of pants, you know, athletic pants. I just think they're more comfortable. I don't hike in jeans. And then up here I just have a Russell synthetic shirt. Nothing special. Okay, so I take my sleeping pad. This is like a $20 jobby. You can order them and actually get them for about $20. This one I think I paid less for. It's like $13 or $15. I've got a video on that. And then here we have the Costco quilt. Now, between the Costco quilt and the Nature Hike mummy bag, they're both basically the same price, $25. All right. I don't need both. You need to just understand that. But for all intents and purposes, we're calling this a deep winter. So if I'm going out and it can get below zero, especially with wind chills, I'm taking them both. Maybe not so much for me, but for my wife, who's almost always with me. All right. So you got the Nature Hike mummy bag with the stuff sack and everything. It's about 2.5 pounds, 2.3 pounds. 1.1 pound on the Costco quilt. Then we've got the Stand Sport Scout tent. Now this thing can be bought anywhere between $23 to about $33, depending on where you get it. Most places have free shipping. Now the trick to this tent is the 1-person and 2-person are the exact same tent. Literally they're the same. The tent, if you, the string that comes with it is crap. Throw it away, grab you some paracord or whatever line you like to use. Secondly, you need to get rid of the tent poles and use hiking poles. The tent poles in this thing are steel and they're crazy heavy. So that's why I have my hiking poles. Now, if you want to really lighten this up even more, you can get rid of the stakes that come with it and go with the aluminum ones. That's the best way I can tell you to lighten it up. But the way this thing sits right now, stakes and all, using my hiking poles, which are separate from this weight, that's 2.5 pounds. Now, I don't know anywhere where you can buy a tent that light at 2.5 pounds. Not for 23 to 30 some bucks. So once again, that's the Stand Sport Scout tent. You'll be seeing more about this. I don't know that I would tell anyone in the dead of summer to take this tent out because it is kind of bad about condensation. It has a screen in the front and in the back it has a window. So if you set it up where you know the breeze is cutting through it correctly, it probably wouldn't be that bad. But it is what it is. It's a cheaper tent. I mean, it has its benefits. Everybody's just got to kind of, any tent's going to have condensation. The only difference with this one is in the dead heat of summer, if you don't have a shady spot for this or a place where wind can cut through it, it could get a little bad. All right, let's move on. This is my Modace 40-liter pack. It's frameless. My wife's been running this pack for about a year now, and I actually broke down and got one. These things are $23 off Amazon. They weigh 1 pound. That's 1 pound. The other nice thing I like about them is these big side pockets for your water bottles. They can hold the 1.5 smart waters, no problem. No problem at all. Now, because it's a frameless pack, you do have to balance out your load and pack it correctly. The other nice thing about this pack is it actually can fold in on itself in a pocket inside of the bag. And I would say that I'll never have to do that, but if I was going to fly somewhere and take this pack with me, I would break it down to that and maybe buy some of my gear somewhere else if you were trying to fly light. You know what I mean? Also, in the hip belt, which it does have a hip belt, it has zipper pockets for snacks and stuff, and we all know how nice those can be. So, moving along, 1 pound, $23 on the Modace pack, 40-liter pack. Now, up here, I just have some ibuprofen, some alcohol wipes, Band-Aids, and then I never leave home without this stuff. That's Monistat Dry Chafing Gel. All right, it's a powder gel. And that tube right there has saved my life more times than I can count. I actually have a video up about it. Scalding, chafing, the cure. You put that stuff on, it makes Body Glide look like a joke. Whatever woman or department working for women figured out how to use that stuff, they're awesome. And I don't know why the entire hiking community isn't using that stuff. So I don't go anywhere without it. But that's like my little mini healthcare pack. Usually I have super glue in there. I just don't today. Okay, then we got our water filter and the plunger to clean it, because I clean mine every time. I just do. It's just one of those things that I can't get back past. I want to back flush hard every time to keep my filter clean. All right, and then I have my Fancy Feast stove. That's my adaptation of it. No real weight on it. It weighs next to nothing, literally. Then over here we have my long-handled spoon that I just picked up. It's like a hardened plastic with a silicone tip. We're just kind of testing it out. They've got them at REI for about $5. And I was like, that's worth the investment there. No problem. So moving on, we have a windscreen down here under the stove. And then we have our Toaks 550 milliliter pot. That's about all we really need. I've got these little cheap Energizer headlamps. They come in a 2-pack for like $9 or $10 with batteries. And they've actually served us well. I run most deer season with them and all of our trips. And then a lot of times my wife will pull them on at night when she's outside doing like cooking over the fire or the wood burner. She likes to go out and cook stuff late at night over the fire. So she wears it all the time too, and they've never let us down. So we got a regular lighter. I do have a ferro rod, but it's one of the mini ones, and it weighs literally nothing. It's in one of the pockets here. But last but not least, just these hiking poles. We are not against expensive hiking poles. I myself don't use them a whole lot. I have been known to, especially if we're on some serious elevation stuff. But these are just the Outdoor Products ones. They're about $10 a piece. They're sold individually. They have the handles on top that pop open, and you can use them like a tripod. And it doesn't want to open right now for me. But anyways, there it goes. So you got a little tripod mount there. See a little screw. And then it also can hold a phone because it's got this little rubber thing that wraps around your phone on the back. It's a pretty nice set of poles. They weigh, I want to say, about a ½ pound a piece. So it's a pound between the two. And they cost $9.99 each. So you're talking $20 and a pound of weight. And it shaves off 3 pounds off my tent by using these. So it's a pretty good deal. I like them. And it was a nice present. But that's pretty much our winter loadout. I mean, this would be heavy winter. and multi-day. Now, if I was going out just for a day, like I said, I'd completely dump all the clothing. I might bring the heavy socks and possibly the swishy pants or the starter pants, one of the two, not both. And I definitely don't technically need both these. Now, while that's said, I can get away with just the quilt, but we're talking heavy winter here, so I'm just trying to put out a maximum of everything. All this said, 90% of the time when I am doing overnights, I have somebody with me, usually my wife. All right, so we're going to be splitting this load, so our trail weight is going to be even lower. But I wanted to give it a fair shake here, that if I was going out by myself, heavy winter, with a full complement of gear, what my trail weight would be. Now, I'm going to put all this stuff in the pack, and we're going to do a full weight so that you guys know exactly what all this weighs. And then we'll sit down and crunch the numbers on the cost of everything here and give you that total as well. Obviously, we're only going to be doing the actual gear, the clothes, the water filter, which I call a perishable, but I'm still putting in my weight, will not be included in that. Neither will like the medical stuff, but just the basic gear, the poles, the spoon, the light, the stove, the pack, the sleep system, the tent, and we'll get you totals on all that so you guys know exactly how much this loadout cost. And I think you'll be surprised, because I know guys that buy tents that are ultralight that's going to cost more than this loadout. So we'll be back with all the numbers. All right, guys, so it's time to run the numbers. So, fully loaded. It's got everything, poles are there, sleeping pad. We ended up coming out at 12.4 pounds for our heavy winter loadout. I mean, that's not bad. It's not quite ultralight, but like I said, this is like sub-zero pack out for me. I'm actually a really hot sleeper, and like I said, my wife's almost always with me, so we'd be splitting this down some. And that's a multi-night loadout. Now, the cost. And this is what I try to make people understand, that this cheap gear is not the best. I don't expect it to last forever. But once I run these totals down for you and run this amount out, you're going to freak out. Because most people spend more than this whole setup on their tent alone, which is fine. Buy it once, cry once. I understand that. You know, when you come to me and say buy it once, cry once, or the importance of buying good gear, the first thing I'll say is I agree wholeheartedly, especially on shoes and boots, because that's necessary. Socks, I'm on board. Right now, I'm at a point in my life where I've got other things I've got to pay for too. You know, when I get to my older days, when I'm getting towards retirement or we get a little more set, yeah, you know. But let's go through the numbers. First thing is a Stansport tent, $24. Costco quilt, $25. Nature Hike mummy bag, $25. $15 sleeping pad, $23 Modace pack, $20 hiking poles. Energizer headlamp I put down for $5 because you get the pack of 2 with batteries for like $9 or $10. My wife got one, I got one, so $5. My long spoon, $5. My Fancy Feast stove was just crap I had laying around the house, so I'm putting 0 cost down for that. Now, my lighter was 59 cents, and my $25 550 milliliter Tokes pot. All right, that brings us to a grand total of $167.59. This whole loadout here for under $170. That's shipping and everything on this stuff. All right, that's all this stuff here, loaded and ready to go. $170 loadout. If you can't see the promise in budget gear, I mean, like I said, let's say, you know, with packs, I kind of would say that spending more money on packs is completely understandable to me. I'm on board with it. But I don't see any reasoning where you're going to get 15 years out of a tent, because we all know you won't get 15 years out of a tent unless you just go once or twice a year and you're super careful. But I can buy, 8 to 10 tents of what I bought for your tent that you're going to pay big money for. Now, I think there's a nice middle ground. I've seen some UL tents that are knockoffs of some quality tents for around $150 that I would kill to have. I really believe that they're pretty quality products. So I'm not saying it's bad to buy expensive gear. I do believe in the buy once, cry once scenario, but it all depends on where you're at in your life. If you've got $500 to $1,000 to blow, or maybe more, on building your system, your loadout, do it. I'm glad that you're at a point in your life where you can do that. But for us, we have other things in our lives, or maybe take that couple extra $100 and we want to put that towards another trip, or less time working to make that money where we can be on a trip. So I don't know if that makes sense. That's just kind of our idealism. Now, maybe in the future when I've got the solar built up and we have basically no electric bill, even though ours is pretty low now, or maybe, we pay off our property here and we don't have a mortgage payment anymore, then things like buying a new pack every month or two, and building our equipment up that way would be completely more reasonable. We're just at a point right now where we'd rather be spending the money to be out places, to go places, than to have the absolute nicest. Okay, guys, I hope you enjoyed the loadout video. I'm Tony with Our World Outdoors. We'll see you in the next one.